So right about now, we would invite Honorable Consul General of Nigeria in Atlanta, Honorable Chudia Kafo, for the opening address.
His Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Culture. The choice of Atlanta, Georgia, as venue for this roadshow is appropriate, given that it is the city to visit in the southeast of the United States, which is the fastest growing region. It will be recalled that it was in this beautiful, hospitable, and historic city that Nigeria in 1996 lifted the Olympic Championship gold medal in soccer. Ever since, Atlanta opened its doors, as it were, to play host to international events. Today, there are more than 70 countries with consular representations and trade missions in Atlanta. In strict strategic tourism sense, the Atlanta airport, owned by the city, is the busiest passenger hub in the world. The Delta Airlines, with the largest fleet across the Atlantic, now operates direct flights to Nigeria. As you may be aware, notwithstanding the long years of the happily existing cordial relations between the United States of America and Nigeria, there persists huge information gap in the United States about Nigeria and indeed Africa. We have a responsibility to utilize various platforms such as this to fill this information gap by showing to our friends in the United States that Nigeria is a safe tourist cum business destination. We cannot rely on the print and electronic media that often thrive on sensationalism to tell the story about an important country like Nigeria. There are so many positive things to say about Nigeria and her people, given the robust political, economic, historical, and cultural links between the United States and Nigeria. It is in this sense that the Consulate General of Nigeria, Atlanta, and our other missions abroad are happy to be a part of this success story of a tourism roadshow, embarked upon by the Federal Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and National Orientation. By way of information, in a forum such as this, it is important to give a brief profile on Nigeria. Nigeria is strategically located at the gateway of the West and Central Africa. It borders the North Atlantic Ocean between Benin Republic and Cameroon and covers an area of 356,668 miles. For clarity purpose, Nigeria is about the same size as California, Nevada, and Utah combined. Like Brazil, it is located within the equator with virtual sunshine all year round, depending on the part of the country one is visiting. Nigeria is a multi-ethnic nation with three major ones, namely Hausa, Igbo, and the Yoruba. The Hausas are concentrated in the far north, the Igbos in the southeast, while the Yorubas are located in the southwest. Other ethnic groups include the Fulani, Ibibio, Efik, Edo, Nupe, etc. Most Nigerians speak more than one language, and about 400 native Nigerian ethnic groups' languages have been identified. There are two main religions, namely Christianity and Islam, although indigenous religions. With a population of 140 million hard-working people, Nigeria is the most populous black nation in the world with a large market. It is the largest oil producer in Africa and the seventh largest in the world. Today, more than 15% of the United States gas supply comes from Nigeria. This is more than any Middle East country supply to the United States. Obviously, Nigeria wants to diversify its economy away from a more producing state whereby petroleum contributes more than a fair share of her foreign exchange earnings. Nigeria's strength also lies in her variety of solid minerals that are largely unexploited. It explains the rationale for this tourism/business expo. The other form of strength for Nigeria, which tourists should pay attention to, is her culture, which is manifested in art, literature, language, folklore, music, festivals, food, clothing, to name a few. Also, Nigerian food comes in various forms, and the Nigerian cuisine is a much desired menu. What has bolstered Nigeria's strength, image, and perception in the Committee of Nations today is that for the first time in her history, she succeeded in transiting from a civilian to civilian democracy. As a logical dividend of the democratic dispensation, Nigeria has seen state and investment visits from all regions of the world to an extent that has not been witnessed for a long time. In return, Nigeria has reciprocated the Middle East and the African region, to name a few. As a further evidence of Nigeria's high standing in the Committee of Nations, her human rights profile has risen and her unfettered press freedom respected. This is not all. Aware of the fact that the democracy thrives for the benefit of the people, His Excellency President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, GCFR, has launched the 7-point agenda to transform the Nigerian economy and boost tourist interest. It is aimed at resolving the problem of power and energy, treatment of security as imperative infrastructure, wealth creation and employment generation, reinvigoration of the education sector with bias on science and technology to meet the challenges of the 21st century, the transformation of the transportation network with emphasis on railways for mass movement of goods and services, as well as fundamental land reforms. The Nigerian government is determined to resolve the Niger Delta problem in a spirit of fairness, justice, understanding, and cooperation. With these projects pursued and implemented, especially given the fact that the bank consolidation exercise in Nigeria has proved to be an unqualified success, Nigeria is actually on her way to real economic growth. Today, there are 24 solid banks in Nigeria with network branches in Europe, United States, and in Africa. Even with the global financial crisis, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has withstood the test of time and continues to guarantee good return on investment. Nigeria is confident to the United States, Britain, France, Italy, Germany, Japan, China will be realized. It is therefore easy to see the linkage between the current tourism business drive and the Nigerian government's determination to place Nigeria where it rightly belongs. To recap, let me assure potential American tourists and investors of the readiness of the present Nigerian government to make Nigeria an investor's heaven, stable, peaceful, and safe. At this point, let me take the liberty to list, but not rank, some of the tourist attractions you may wish to see during your visit to Nigeria, namely Tinapa, picturesque and architectural beauty of Obudu Ranch, Mambila Plateau, Ikogosi Warm Spring, annual Oshun Festival, the Plateau Wonderland of Jos, Argungu Festival, Eastern Masquerades Festival, Lagos Beaches, Yankari Games Reserves, Abuja Carnival, Calabar Carnival, the Nok Culture and the Igbo artifacts, Oguta Lake, museums in different shapes and sizes, the ornamental site of the Abuja Rock, waterfalls and mountains, the Obunike Caves, and so on, and it's just endless. All these and many more make the beautiful entity called Nigeria. On our part, I wish to assure that at the Consulate General of Nigeria, Atlanta, visas and other travel documents to Nigeria would be promptly processed and information on Nigeria furnished as may be required. Please visit our website. Before the end of today's session, I will be surprised if some of our American friends fail to confess that they have indeed adopted Nigeria as a second home. I wish you fruitful celebration. Thank you for listening.